Which black and white movies are absolutely worth watching? 7 Samurai, original 1954 version. I mean, all of Kurosawa. Everyone throwing out samurai films, but Akira and High and Low are my favorites from him. 12 Angry Men, 1957. My dad with dementia has about a half dozen movies he watches over and over and over and over. 12 Angry Men is one of them. What are some of the other ones? I'm curious to know. He also likes to watch 12 Angry Men. I've lost family to dementia, and this is the kind of thing that helps. Thanks for the laugh. I can't recommend this enough. People always think it sucks when I say the entire movie happens basically in one room. Sure, there's the bathroom, too, and the beginning and end have the courtroom and outside, but it's still one of my favorite movies. Testament to how you can have riveting action with just dialogue, not throwing around explosions and fight scenes. You ever seen The Man from Earth, 2007? Same thing, and it's great. If you liked it, don't watch the sequel. The Thin Man. The murderer is right in this room. Sitting at this table. You may serve the fish. Young Frankenstein. It's pronounced Frankenstein. Well, I suppose it's Froderick then. Would you like to have a role in Sie Hey? It's quite fun. Roll. Roll. Roll in Sie Hey. If you're blue, and you don't know where to go to, why don't you go where fashion sits? Puddin' on the Ray Huts. To Kill a Mockingbird. I am required to teach this to high schoolers. I am both astonished and completely unsurprised every year at how many of them develop a crush on Gregory Peck. Atticus Finch has been rated as one of the best fictional fathers many times before. He turned out the light and went into Jem's room. He would be there all night, and he would be there when Jem waked up in the morning. I have an amazing father and zero daddy issues, but Gregory Peck's Atticus is the ultimate portrayal of what a good man should be. And that is apparent even when you are too young to have any concept of a man outside of a father figure, but old enough to have a crush. He's the #1 hero on AFI's list of 50 greatest heroes and villains. Among the Indiana Jones, Superman and Luke Skywalkers, Atticus Finch holds the #1 spot. Dr. Strangelove. Main Führer. I can walk. When he's struggling to hold his hand down, I fucking die every time. Dude, there are so many scenes in that movie where Sellers fucking kills me every single time, and I've seen this movie at least 50 times. His facial expressions alone when he's talking to Brigadier General Jack D. Ripper and the general is explaining to him how women stole his essence. It's fucking insane how talented that man was. Fun fact, Dr. Strangelove was James Earl Jones' first movie role. Another fun fact, A Clockwork Orange was David Prowse's first role, so Kubrick independently gave both the voice and body actors of Darth Vader their big break. Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room. Plus the whole phone call with Dimitri cracks me up every time. Of course I like to speak to you. Of course I like to say hello. Oh, be completely honest, one of the reasons I hadn't watched Hitchcock movies was because I had a weird feeling of obsolescence, because of old-time and black and white film. I couldn't be more wrong. I haven't been more intrigued by a movie in a long time. Literally, I couldn't take my eyes off the screen and I was all the time at the edge of my seat. Completely recommended. Edit, replaced a obsoleteness. My half-asleep Mexican brain thought that it was a proper replacement for obsolescence. I had a weird feeling of obsoleteness because of old-time and black and white film. I highly recommend people take the time to find older films on Blu-ray and 4K UHD because there is a common perception that these films aren't visually striking or interesting, and that couldn't be more wrong. The language of filmmaking has evolved significantly, but the fundamentals of filmmaking were ironed out in the 1920s. These films look incredible restored and, What more people need to realize is that a 35mm film camera has the capacity to capture a more detailed image than a 4K digital camera. Many people don't understand just how good older films can look because we remember first being exposed to them on VHS, where the scratches, dust and dirt hadn't been cleaned off of the film, the audio popped, crackled and hissed and the image was blurry as shit. Harvey, 1950, edit, 1950. One of my favorite movies. Years ago my mother used to say to me, she'd say, "In this world, Elwood, you must be oh so smart or oh so pleasant." Well, for years I was smart. I recommend pleasant. You may quote me. This line has always stuck with me and has grown more true as time goes by. Learning to let go. Reminds me of the George Saunders quote, "When I was young, I admired clever people. Now that I am old, I admire kind people." I just put Ed Hickey into a taxi. Ed had been mixing his rye with his gin, and I just felt that he needed conveying. Well, anyway, I was walking down along the street and I heard this voice saying, "Good evening, Mr. Dowd." Well, I turned around and here was this big 6-foot rabbit leaning up against a lamppost. The Night of the Hunter. This is my personal favorite. Robert Mitchum just makes one of the most terrifying characters in film history. Jumping movies, but Mitchum in Cape Fear is just so much more quietly intimidating than De Niro is crazy in the remake. Gaslight, Ingrid Bergman version. Sorry mate, but that movie doesn't exist. The Day the Earth Stood Still. I thought it was full of cliché phrases and scenes when I watched it. I realized they invented phrases everyone else quoted. Yeah, all those phrases came from Casablanca. That movie has a lot of heavily quoted phrases. It's not the most classic, but, out of all the gin joints in all the towns in all the world, She Walks Into Mine, has always moved me. Sometimes you can't escape fate. What I love about is that the famous La Marseillaise scene, the song is sung by the extras, who are real French refugees. The Song of Liberty they sing, for a war still going on at time of filming. They aren't acting. Formatting and, well, play La Marseillaise. Play it. Another fun fact, the Nazis in the film are played by German refugees who wanted to make sure people understood what soulless bastards the Nazis were. The lead Nazi actor made a career out of doing just that. There are a ton of German and Jewish people of that time who'd jump at the opportunity to show a Nazi losing, and I respect that. I love the dialogue in Casablanca. Victor, thank you, I try. Rick, we all try. You succeed, I use it in casual conversation when the opportunity arises. My health. I came to Casablanca for the waters. Waters? What waters? We are in the desert. I was misinformed. I always assumed it was a serious movie, but seems like there's a lot of comedy in there too. Suppose I should put it on my bucket list to watch. You despise me, don't you? If I gave you any thought, I probably would. I like to think you killed a man. It's the romantic in me. I can't count how many times I've used "I'm shocked" to discover that gambling is going on here, though. Night of the Living Dead. It's a Wonderful Life. What a wild swing in tone these two are, I like it. One is about battling external monsters, the other about battling internal ones. Happier ending for It's a Wonderful Life though. Marty, 1955, starring Ernest Borgnine, who won an Oscar for the title role, and Betsy Blair. Great acting, great script by Paddy Chayefsky. Just a brilliant film. Rebecca. It's Alfred Hitchcock. Duck Soup, 1933. I'm surprised I haven't seen someone comment it yet. Schindler's List. Edit for those who live in the US. This movie is streaming on Peacock. Holy smokes, thank you guys for all the upvotes, and also thank you kind stranger for the gold. Best movie I'll only ever watch once.
Oh,
I love old movies, so this is my time to shine. Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf is insanely gripping and entertaining. It's about a terrifyingly dysfunctional alcoholic husband and wife, who are actually played by a real-life, terrifyingly dysfunctional alcoholic husband and wife, Richard Burton and Liz Taylor. 12 Angry Men takes place entirely within a jury deliberation room. There's not a single bit of physical action, but it's never boring for a second. A Streetcar Named Desire stars young Marlon Brando. Enough said. Rashomon is a fascinating film about the nature of truth. Seven Samurai and Tokyo Story are by the same director. Duck Soup and Horse Feathers are my two favorite Marx Brothers classics. The Marx Brothers are just so anarchic and hilarious, and they mix physical and cerebral comedy in a way that's quite unusual, so there are both lowbrow and sophisticated jokes. Raging Bull is more modern than most of the films on this list, and the lack of color is a stylistic choice. It's brutal, unflinching and deeply upsetting. Rumblefish is another stylistic black and white film from the 80s. The Night of the Hunter and Cape Fear both star Robert Mitchum as the villain. He does sinister and slimy like nobody else. The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari is a bit of a schlep in my opinion, but it's a very important film and is considered to be the first ever horror movie. Similarly, Freaks is a horror film starring real circus freaks. Cleo from 5 to 7 is a beautifully shot, visually stunning French film about a singer waiting for the results of a biopsy and trying to distract herself by wandering around Paris. Two other good French New Wave films are Casque d'Or and The 400 Blows. Bicycle Thieves is a simple and gritty Italian drama about a father trying to make ends meet, and is considered to be one of the greatest Italian films. Schindler's List is one of those films that everyone should see once, but anyone who watches it twice is a psychopath. Who's That Knocking at My Door is Scorsese's first feature film, an exploration of sexuality and Catholic guilt. It's very much a prototype for Mean Streets. Psycho might be a little predictable now, but it was groundbreaking in its time. Victim is an incredibly important film, the first British film to portray homosexuals in a sympathetic light. A similar German short film is different from the others. Death in Venice is haunting and features a morally ambiguous protagonist. Scarface was remade in the 80s. Young Frankenstein is a horror comedy that doesn't take itself too seriously. The Kid is a silent Charlie Chaplin classic. The Elephant Man is genuinely heartbreaking. Hope this list helps. The Artist. Casablanca. The Maltese Falcon. To Have and Have Not. Came here to suggest Maltese Falcon. It's a Wonderful Life. I hadn't watched it since I was a kid, and I never understood what the big deal was. Watched it again as a spouse and parent struggling to give my family a good life, and it sure hit a lot different. Same. I watch it every year around Christmas time and, my kids know that's the one time of the year this stoic hillbilly allows himself a good cry. There's little worse than being a dad, parent and feeling like after all you've done, you still can't do enough. And there's little better than having that moment of clarity, where you realize it'll be all right. Thanks for watching this video. Hit the bell next to subscribe so you never miss a video. Like, comment and subscribe if you are new on the channel.